Welcome back to Talking It Out with Bachelor Nation. I'm your host with the most, Mike Johnson. My co-host, my better half, the better looking one, the more intelligent one, the beautifully married one, Brian, my co-host, is not here today. He's probably out spoiling his wife, so we got to give him that, right? But today is myself, and I can't wait for our guest to come in, Alex Bordy. You guys may know him from the show. He's been on Bachelor in Paradise, The Bachelorette with Rachel Lindsay. He's been on Bachelor in Paradise Australia, Bachelor in Paradise Canada. The boy looks like a Greek god. He should be on the cover of a romance magazine. And something that you don't know. Alex hit me up back in 2019. He DM'd me, and he was giving me a compliment on just my personality. So for all you guys that hate me, someone liked me. And I'm playing. But Alex gave me a piece of advice. And it's an early gym. I can't wait for his gym later on today because he's not only just a great looking individual, she's incredibly intelligent and humble. And what he told me was to consistently stay humble and don't let this world change your life, just enhance your life. And so I cannot wait to speak with Alex. Ask him, like, what is he like in a woman? Ask him, like, why is this boy still single? He done been on all these shows. Come on now. I think he just ain't got no game, but we'll see. We're going to talk to the man himself. But before we get into that with Alex, I want to tell you guys a few of my thoughts on the show, the last 2 episodes, right? Firstly, we have so many wonderful things happening in Bachelor Nation. We have to give a shout out to my little sister, Madison, and Grant, her fiance, now husband, just got married over the weekend. Huge shout out to them in Dallas. Thomas proposed to Becca. You may remember that Becca proposed to him already, and now Thomas got down, his 6'6" self, got down on one knee and proposed. Love those two together. Joe and Serena got married. So happy for them. I hit up Joe earlier. They got married at the courthouse, but I believe next September they're going to have a wedding. All I'm saying is, bro, invite your boy. And she was from Matt James' season. You may remember her. She's an amazing individual, lives out in Vegas, and she and her boyfriend are pregnant. And so let's give them a shout out. And then if you didn't know, top 3 people that I think in Bachelor Nation is the coolest. Like, he's top 3 for me. Dean Unglert. Like, if I had to come back and be somebody else in Bachelor Nation, it would probably be Dean. He's just an amazing guy. He's a little crazy sometimes, but I just love the adventure side of him. That's what I'm talking about. But him and his beautiful longtime girlfriend, Kaylin, got engaged last week, so shout out to them as well. You may remember them from Bachelor in Paradise Season 5. So let's get right into Bachelor in Paradise, the last 2 episodes, right? What took place. Ladies, y'all know I love y'all. Y'all really do. I'll be fighting for y'all, but I'm going to have to come with y'all this week. You know, it's called tough love, but it's still love in that word, tough love, right? 3 things happen. But before I get to ladies, let's talk about the guy first. Aaron, when I was watching you, first off, you have an amazing body. You're just really tanned. Look, you did a great job in the gym. Definitely proud of you. Salute to you there. But you were a little bro-ish, you know, when Genevieve was trying to explain her emotions. Was she, like, the easiest in that moment? Probably not, but that's your girl, homie. You got to, understand the lady that you're with, and ladies, you got to understand the guy that you're with. So, Aaron, I'm coming with you for that one. Well, for the ladies. Ladies. 3 different things I saw happen, but 2 of them were pretty much the exact same. Kate and Eliza, and then Genevieve. I'll start with Genevieve first, since I just talked about her boy toy, Aaron. Genevieve, baby, how you going to tell somebody that you were considering falling in love with them less than 24 hours before, and now there's something didn't go your way, you want to walk out on them? Is that real love, or is that something else? I do think that y'all, if y'all haven't, will probably have absolutely amazing sex, just because y'all be doing all that toxic stuff. A little toxic in the bedroom go a long way. But see, this is why Brian needs to be here, because I'm too playful. But Kate and Eliza, y'all are both gorgeous women. Y'all have experiences, and y'all have dated men before and know how it goes. I'm a little disappointed that both of y'all wanted to, I'll say it in a good way first, see your guy fight for you, fight for his love for you, right? But at the same time, y'all could have both said, hey, I really want to stay here with you. How do you feel right now? Do you want me to stay? Eliza, I know you will say that. But in the same breath, Eliza, you told Rodney, who is King Rodney around here, Granny Smith King Apple, you told our boy Rodney, and I'll be getting on Rodney too when necessary, but he's been amazing. You told Rodney that sometimes he will need to act out a character if he really wants to be with you. Isn't that, like, not manly of him to do? I feel that he did the right thing by telling you, I do want you here, but if you must go on this date, do what you got to do. He's a confident individual. Obviously, it didn't work out for him, but that's just my take on that. Kate, baby, me and you the same age. Like, we have experiences when it comes to dating. And you saw what happened. You had a horrible date with old buddy. I don't even know his name. That's how bad it was. You said it to yourself. I hope the best for you. I really do, because I think that you're absolutely wonderful. I think that you really want the real thing. I have been absolutely loving your energy this entire time on Bachelor in Paradise. I think you did it right. I actually envy you the way that you have been going about Bachelor in Paradise. But I think you could have just, hey, I really want to be here with you. It's not always up on the guy to say, I want you to stay here, because this is the opposite side of that, right? If a guy is saying, in this situation, I want you to stay, or you're going to stay, all the woman has to do in this situation is say, you're emotionally abusing me, or something of that nature. And for those that have been emotionally abused, I feel for you. I am not taking this word lightly whatsoever, so please don't come at me. I'm just telling you sometimes what a good man, how he looks at it. And that's why both of those gentlemen with Eliza and Kate were trying to be respectful. They wanted you to explore your royal oats, but at the same time, they really wanted to be with you guys. I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't disrespect nobody. And I love all y'all. I can't wait for all of y'all to find the love of y'all's life. Have your babies, have your picnics, get out there, do your thing, get your IG. And so I can cheer all of y'all on, because I love to do that. But those are just my thoughts. You guys can come at me all you want. I would love to have y'all on Talking It Out, because that's what we do, Talking It Out. As y'all know, people come up here and get rowdy. I love that. I stay in the kitchen. But without further ado, I have so many questions for Alex, because he is a Greek god. He looks amazing. Does the boy just not have game? Or just does his breath stink? What is going on? Let's talk it out. Let's bring in Alex. Welcome to Talking It Out. We got Alex Bordy in the house. Alex, how do I pronounce your last name, man?
Wait, how did you say it? Did you
Bordy.
just try it? You just said Bordy. You didn't say my full
Yeah,
last name.
I didn't want to butcher you. I didn't want to disrespect you.
It's Bordyukov. It's not that difficult.
Bordyukov?
Yeah, Bordyukov.
Okay, that's not that hard. I think Brian.
Right? It looks scarier than it really is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here today, man. I don't know if you listened to the show, but about 2 episodes ago, Brian and I were 100% fangirling over you.
I did listen to that bit. Brian texted me and he's like, hey, can you hop on the call real quick? And I told him, hey, I haven't seen the show yet. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm going to say something. Every time I do a podcast, I say something out of line, I get in trouble. So he's like, oh, that's cool. We'll get you on once you catch up. But then I went back and listened, and man, I told him, Brian, I got to hire you as my all-time hype man. You guys went off. I am not worthy.
It is 100% true, 100% true. This is how I know it's true. And I told a little bit about this. I said a little bit about this prior to you getting on. I don't know if you remember, but you had reached out to me, and I had reached out back to you back in 2019. And this has happened to me with Noah from the show as well. But Noah and I I don't know how we got unfollowed, and so it happened to you, and so I immediately followed you back today when I noticed that. So I apologize for that. It happened to Noah as well. It happened 3 times with Noah and I. But what you told me was, man, you were thankful to see my personality displayed. And what really I want to talk about is the advice that you said, which was use this experience to enhance your life, not to change your life, and for me to stay humble. And I really, truly appreciate that about you, because so many people can have these misconceptions about, especially someone that has a blue check, that has been on TV 10 times, you have in multiple different countries, looks like you do, is as intelligent as you do. And so for you to say that, I want to salute you and give you your flowers publicly, because you really are a really awesome guy from what I know, man. So I thank you for you as a man. Definitely so.
I appreciate you saying that, man. I do remember I literally caught one episode, and I think you had a little confrontation. I was like, you know what? I like the way that this guy handled this specific confrontation, because I've been in those positions. It is a difficult situation to navigate from all angles, right? And sure. I literally was like, you know what? I got to give this guy some props.
No, I appreciate it, man. Definitely so. It's I'm sorry.
It's hard to know what to say in these situations, especially with the cameras and everyone being under all the stress and, all the unknowns. So
the microscope, the drinking for some people. Do you drink?
I do not. No,
Yeah,
I've actually never had a sip in my life. So I've done all this completely sober. So I do remember actually how it goes down. So it's funny, like you do these interviews and everyone's like, when did I say that? And I was like, I remember exactly when I said it. I remember what question I was answering. That is not when they played it, but that's all right.
That's all right. You know, they edit the show however they see. You had mentioned something earlier. You said you've been on podcasts before and said things out of place at times. What would you say, Alex, has been like the most outlandish thing that you've said that you forgot?
Oh, man. Like, no, dude, I'm not bringing that back up. Come on, man. You're going to try me. I've already apologized for it and everything. We're good.
I genuinely don't know. So if it was something bad,
no, it wasn't anything bad. But, you know, it's just, especially you start like talking to your boys, you know, having fun. You forget, it's like, oh, you know what? Some things are better said in private.
That is true. You know, boy talk and girl talk is raunchy, especially girl talk, man. They raunchy.
Well, it's not that it's raunchy. It's more like that inside humor, right? Like you're not saying anything bad or negative, but sometimes it's just you need the right audience. And
correct. I think everyone can understand that.
It's like you got to mind those things.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. Well, Alex, thank you again for being here. How you been, man? It's been a minute.
I've been good, man. It's crazy that the show. I mean, because usually shows have a quicker turnaround. This one they've been sitting on for a minute. We filmed it in June, and it's just now playing. So it's it's almost from a different lifetime.
What month did you go home? Was it July?
It was June. Everything's filmed in June.
Okay, no, it's I act like I haven't been there. Come on now, Mike.
Mike, you've done it.
I know. I get it myself too sometimes. So yeah, June. We're basically in November now, so it has been a while. Definitely has been a while. So I have to know, you've done so many different shows.
Well, don't say it like that. I've enjoyed the experience that was presented to me. I've never. So I know that's a good point. I mean, you bring it up, and a lot of people say that. Why do you keep doing these? You know, how you've gone on so many shows. First of all, the reason I did the international shows is to kind of escape that exposure, like, you know, in the States.
I understand that clearly.
Because you actually end up getting the full experience, which is actually an incredible learning opportunity for yourself. Because you go through it and then, you realize like, wow, it's like watching game footage. You know, if you play sports, watching yourself, how do I interact with people? How do I read certain situations? Like, how did I think it was happening versus how did it actually happen? So as far as a social experience, you get, it's so vast. And
Give me an example if you can.
I always say, like, for every 4 shows I've done now, which is crazy to say now. I never thought I'd be doing that many shows, but I'm just sitting at home, working my job, and I get a call and say, "Hey, would you like to travel the world, date models and the world's most beautiful women, and get paid for it?" And who am I to say no?
Who are you to say no? You did a great job.
It has been nice, and I actually have avoided the U.S. Paradise for a few years. I really didn't want to go back. The exposure of it does kind of mess with your life a little bit. It can, at least. I've seen people get affected by it, both in positive and negative ways. And it was kind of a risk that I wasn't really willing to take for a long time. And then this year, honestly, the big thing is first of all, the timing of it. I literally had just I spent the winter down in Florida and then came back home to Detroit, Michigan. And I was like, you know what? I'd love to meet someone. Let me get on dating apps. I download the app. Next day, the producers call me, "Hey, would you like to go, would you come to Paradise?" And I was like, "Oh, man, I can't believe the timing of it." I was like, "Okay, let me think about it." They're like, "We kind of need your answer now because it starts in the week." Like,
oh, wow.
It's because they literally, they were starting like early June. They called me and end of May, and they're like, they gave me 2 weeks to get ready.
Wow.
I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And the other big reason I wanted to do it, because obviously with everything that was happening in Russia and all the negative media about it, and, justifiably so, I wanted to, I felt like I had an opportunity to represent my country, my heritage in a in a positive manner. Right.
I love that.
So I was like, I have this opportunity to come out on this show and, for something that I was already doing, just go on some dates and meet some people and be, kind of not a champion, but like a representation of a Russian person living in the United States and how they would go around dating and, how they are affected by this. And there's actually, I've had conversations. I don't think they aired any of it, but like I did have conversations about what it's like to be impacted by this.
I want to talk about that too, but back a bit. Someone asked me, because I posted about you today on my social media, asking people what do they want to know about you. And someone had mentioned, can you ask Alex how he feels about what's taking place in Russia right now? And so for you to bring it up was just awesome. But if you want to elaborate more on that, I would love to hear.
I mean, it is a very confusing situation, right? It's tough because it's the mentality of thinking of us versus them. It's so easy, but for me, it's all us. So if anything, I will say it's embarrassing, but not just as a Russian person, but as a human being, right? Like we'd love to stand around, pound our chest and say, look at us, look at how smart we are, look at how intelligent we are. But every time it comes to conflict resolution, we resort to violence and war. And it's not just the Russian people. Like every country, every older people have had this history, and we still continuing to do so. So as a human being, I'm embarrassed that this is still how we resolve our conflicts.
Every time I talk to you, man, you never cease to amaze me. This is the man I'm talking about, everybody. And to what you had just said, it just feels a bit embarrassing just as a human being first. I feel the same way sometimes. I was just, for the exact same reasons that you went overseas to like decompose a bit. I did that myself for the exact same reasons, literally, and I had to have those conversations. So I'm glad that you are a Russian American and representing extremely well. Definitely so. But you mentioned sports, right? What is this I hear about you being like a non-professional professional athlete?
Non-professional? Oh, did Brian say that?
Yeah, man. What's up with that?
I used to make that joke because I don't play as much anymore, but I would be involved in so many different like rec leagues.
Okay.
Well, I was constantly playing sports. I wasn't very good at them, but I was training all the time. I was playing all the time. So I was like, I'm basically a non-professional professional athlete because I'm always playing sports. I'm just not getting paid for it.
Fair. What's your sport of play or your favorite sport to play?
I've been playing a lot of volleyball. So I beach volleyball. Yeah.
Beach volleyball,
so I'm going to go down to Florida and just play some doubles down there.
Dude, when I was in Colombia, I wish I would have had you, man. I did beach volleyball pretty much every day.
It's tough because it's you can't just be an athlete. It's like there's a technique to it.
For sure.
There's always the guy
spiking is 100% technique.
Yeah, suspecting. Yeah, you would think like basketball players would be good at it. No,
100% technique for sure on that, man. Where can we go back to the inception, the beginning? Where did you grow up, and what do you do for a living? Because you travel so much.
Where did I grow up? Those are very opposite questions, Mike. Where did I grow up? What do I do?
Yeah, they are. I shouldn't have asked them back to back. That's my bad. I just want to know everything about you because when I pose that question to you about you on social, obviously, naturally, so many ladies wanted to, Mike asked this, and so I'm trying to make sure I ask all the questions the ladies would like.
Yeah, no, I was like, I started answering, I was like, hey, how do I conflate those two, man?
So where did you grow
originally,
up?
I was born and raised in Russia. We moved, I was 13 years old. We moved in 2001, actually, fairly just a couple months after 9/11. So like my first travel experience, like the plane was empty. And like, I hadn't really completely like realized like what was happening. Like you're still like, because again, it was like something I saw on TV. It wasn't something that hit home. Like, yeah, we knew it was happening. But anyway, I was like, wow, like air travel's great. Like you have the whole plane to yourself.
Was it on physically 9/11 or just around it?
No, it was November.
Okay.
2000.
So I guess no one was traveling. Got you.
Yeah, just people weren't traveling. Everyone's so apprehensive about it.
And did you speak English?
I did not. I mean, I knew like yes, no, okay. Like I very, very little understanding. So I was just, and we thought we were coming in just for a little bit. I as a kid, I didn't want to leave home. I didn't want to leave my friends. But my parents knew this was the opportunity they really wanted to take advantage of. And the reason we got the opportunity is my dad actually got recruited to work on the particle accelerator.
Very nice.
So he was working for theoretical physics, the department. So yeah, I mean, if you wanted a real smart guy, that's the man. He humbles me all the time.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Like he'll just start talking about things, and his understanding of just like life in general and everything. I'm like, how do you retain this much information? Like I try and read and like study, but I'm like, we're nowhere near. We're not on the same level.
Did he give you any tricks to remember it?
Oh yeah, like a memory palace.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've done it, but
Okay.
Again, there's some people just understand it. It's just like, the vast knowledge that's like embedded in his brain is just from a different pedagogic system. Then it's a bit. That's another thing. The education, the contrast that I went through when was so different. Just culturally and everything. The adjustment period. And I was like, wow, school's a lot easier. But I only speak English. Like it's like
that
how
is crazy.
I don't speak the language. I'm still at a 4.0.
I don't speak English and it's still easy.
Right.
Oh, that's so funny. That's terrible. America, we got to do better.
It's true. Yeah,
I was like, hilarious.
Wait, yeah, I was like, what, 9th grade, and I was like, we did this in 3rd grade. Okay, I can do this.
Whoa, that is crazy. Okay, so now it goes perfectly. So I know that you come from an extremely intelligent family. You are intelligent yourself. Are you? I don't want to guess. I'm gonna probably be wrong, but what is it that you do?
So I do information systems and accounting. So basic computers and numbers. So if you were to pick out like the 2 most boring jobs in the world, ostensibly, those would be the 2. But I'm someone that integrates that software, someone that does database optimization, right? So okay. On both internal and consulting side.
Okay, nice. Do you work for yourself or a company or?
I work for a company.
Nice. See, look, you are extremely intelligent, man. What in the world is Alex Bordy looking for in a partner? Like, are you even able to? Because you travel quite a bit. Is your job allowing you to do these different things?
So yeah, my job, one of the greatest gifts from it is that I do have flexibility of being able to travel. It's all fully remote. As long as I get my work done, it's my bosses are happy with it. Nice. As far as my partner, I always say I want to be surprised by them. Like if I knew the exact amalgam of a person I wanted to be with, like I would just be trying to fit that puzzle piece, right? I actually want to meet someone and be surprised by them. And that's sort of like why I went to Paradise. I thought it was like, well, here's a bunch of people I'll never meet outside of this specific situation. Like this isn't my normal social circle. This isn't something, I don't really interact. I don't go to, what's that music festival everyone goes to? Not Coachella, one after one. Yeah, Stagecoach. Yeah. I don't go to Stagecoach. I won't. So I was like, go to the beach and try something new, something outside of your comfort box.
Okay, so
comfort box.
So I'm assuming you don't really hang out with much Bachelor people. You just do your own thing, focus on what you got to.
Yeah, there's few Bachelor people I'll hang out with, and I'm not against it. It's just I'm in Detroit. There's no one there, so I'll come out and like I'll meet up with Dean or Iggy or Peter, for my season, and we'll still make time for it. But other than that, I won't go out of my way to attend these Bachelor events.
I completely understand that. Same. I'm out here in Austin and pretty much just me and like one other. So we're pretty
quiet. But Austin's booming.
Austin's booming, but no Bachelor people live here. I think Bachelor people live they live in San Diego, New York, Nashville. I would say that's probably like the big 3 cities that people live in. Sure. LA for sure, definitely so. But talking about you don't really see many Bachelor people. You kind of when you came onto the beach, you had a thing for Victoria Fuller. Like, had you guys messaged and or seen each other before at some event or any
I didn't even know
contact?
Who she was.
Okay,
I came in. The only person I knew there was Danielle, which I met later.
Okay,
because Danielle and I had met before, and obviously Wells. But as far as from the original cast, and I've seen some faces here and there from like previews on social media, but like I didn't know anything about anyone. I've not so it was kind of nice. Like I was really coming in blind, and I knew that was they had a chance to kind of bite me in the ass. Because a lot of people do message ahead of time. They do have these friendships that way. At least like the friendships itself, like even like for guys, it makes it a lot easier.
I get that.
To be comfortable in that dynamic. Because coming in and I'm competing with these guys and I'm not friends with them. Versus like if you're friendly about it, at least you have some kind of a rapport there.
No, Alex, I wanted to ask you a question about that because I was watching this past weekend. Everything I've say is true about how I feel about you, individual. I think you're absolutely phenomenal, top tier quality. From what I know about you, I would be like, okay, you could date my sister. Like that's the level of respect I have for you, which is like nobody.
It's funny you say that because I always say I call it the sister test, and I'm like, it's like if would you ever recommend like any of these guys? Like, would you want them to date your sister?
Yeah.
And then I would say, it's like, I don't know. There's not a lot of those guys out there. In
It's very few.
They're fun to hang out with, but like,
yeah, cool to hang out with. I just know where they stand. You know, I know where I stand.
Right. You know, like, too much. You know too much.
For sure. But I wanted to ask, because I was kind of getting annoyed to some of the guys on the show that were talking behind your back, like in a negative light. And I'm obviously assuming that it's because they don't know you, but at the same time, they don't know you, right? Was there any behind the scenes tiff that you had when you went that we didn't get to see, or anything that would make them feel that you aren't exemplary like everyone else?
No, there wasn't any rancor there of any kind. It was just, I think mostly came from them wanting to support their friend. Again, I was coming as a late comer. I was kind of intruding onto their dynamic. And I mean, they tried, I mean, no, everyone was very welcoming. I mean, they tried to like bring me in. And honestly, after coming in from that hotel experience, or we went Vedanta, whatever it is.
Vedanta, I believe.
Vedanta, yeah. I was kind of like worn out, like, because coming in, that was tough. Like, we came in, like the five of us, we were all excited to like meet some girls. And that first night, I mean, the girls just did not want to be there, right?
Yeah, and how was that scene?
It's very deflating in a way.
Okay.
There were and a couple of girls, I mean, like Brittany and Shanae, they were actually very open to exploring, and I'm not blaming them. Like, I completely understand what the situation was for them. I mean, these girls, they hadn't slept, they got pulled away, and it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. Like, if these girls started talking to us, everyone would have been like, oh, well, they're cheating on their men. They're not talking to us to be like, oh, they're not giving these guys a chance. So I completely understand, but that was just socially, that was an absolutely exhausting situation. So like coming down to the beach and kind of almost sort of going through the same steps again, meeting another 12 people or something like that, maybe another more than that.
Yeah, something like that, 12, 20.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, like how many, like that's where having friends ahead of time would have helped.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I had to like form another, new 12 new connections, new friendships, while trying to pursue a girl that's seeing a guy on that beach who's definitely friends with everyone. Like, so it was a very difficult dynamic. So I definitely started to get a little dejected there at some point.
Alex, off question, but I'll come back to Bachelor in Paradise. Are you someone that thrives in like a network environment, like network events and things of that nature where you don't know nobody?
No, horrendous. I am as introverted as they come.
Horrendous.
Like, if anything more than 3 people is too many people for me.
No, I get you, man. Definitely so. Every time I go on a trip, I'm like, look, it's either 2 couples, I'm one couple, and then another couple, or it's 3 of us max. Like, there is no 4 and I just can't do it.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, it's just, I completely understand you there. So, on Paradise, right? And when you guys came, how was it? What were your thoughts around coming during split week?
It was, that one almost felt like a Survivor, honestly. It's kind of like, we get through this, we get it to the beach, and like, eventually, like, so Victoria and I, it took a while for us to even like hit it off. So that's why I say that at first it felt like it. Once she started like lowering her walls a little bit, I mean, her walls were so high. Like,
what did she do to lower her walls? What is something that Victoria tell us that make you felt that she was lowering her walls a bit?
Yeah, it's tough to pinpoint that, but I would say I think it was a second day there, like during the evening. I think they just showed the head rub. That's obviously not. I didn't just come in completely. People were like, did he just come in and start? We just had like a small conversation, and we connected over some of the books we were reading.
Okay, is that why you guys connected?
Yeah, and she was actually reading. I can't remember the name of the book, but it was more or less kind of thinking more logically like a machine, sort of computer like logic type of thinking, where it's thinking slow. There's a book called Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow is the one I was talking about to her. I was like, yeah, this you don't think from emotion, you process it. And she's like, oh, I'm just reading a book about this. We started connecting on that. It kind of lowered her guard a little bit. And she's like, okay, this guy is okay, and then I was just standing there like by the couch talking to someone else while she's laying, and I rub her head for just a hot second. She's like, no, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves that, Alex. I mean,
Yeah, that was like, that just worked out, because other than that, I don't know, I might have been going home the next day, because I don't know what the design of that entire situation was before that.
No,
Because we were, as a group of guys, we were having a hard time connecting with the girls, aside from Tyler.
Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, all 5 of you guys were really good looking. And so I'm sure it probably was extremely nerve-wracking just because, you know, they got their guys back home and just the whole situation. You explained it really well. You were really sympathetic for them in that regard. And you said you listened to a snippet of what Brian and I were talking about the other day on the other podcast. Did you hear me when I said, is it just that you don't have no game? Did you hear that part?
Yeah, I don't have. I literally pride myself on not having a game.
Okay.
That my game is that I don't have game. I literally go out of my way not to flirt because I feel like it's a facade.
That's why I don't like going to networking events.
You're putting on a show.
Yeah, it's like you're putting on see, I knew I liked you, man. Exactly why.
Well,
okay.
I do believe in like this like natural like gravitation towards the people you want to find yourself next to, right? Yeah. So in previous like shows, so I've done a few shows, like I never had this issue. There's always been someone that I just naturally gravitated to, and like the conversations took off organically. And then I don't want to say I had to force it a little bit, but I had to wait for this one to kind of brew a little bit.
Well, what you said about Victoria, from my encounters that I've had with her, she's an amazing woman. She's extremely like that. Like she really doesn't show her emotion much,
right?
Not too much. She's very even keel, really respectful of everyone. And you being the same way a bit, I can see that. Definitely so. But you guys are gorgeous. You know, you guys definitely would have been.
Yeah, but you know, it's like it is a visual medium. Like on the show, like everyone's good looking, right? So it's like it kind of levels the playing field. Like when you maybe you get an advantage, you know, out in the, you know,
Alex, I'm just stopping right there.
Midwest.
Alex, you know, number one rule as an interviewer is don't cut off your guests. Bro, shut up. You are amazing, bro. Like, you are a 10, homie. Like, just don't nobody want to hear that. You know, there's certain people that are like just conventionally good looking. That is you. So some people are just like good looking for a certain niche. You're just everyone's type, right? And so I am not going to let you speak of that.
Well, I will speak on that actually. It's funny you say that, like that whole like almost like that universe. You guys brought it up, the universal appeal, which is I do hear that, right? I understand that, but it also it has that it's a double-edged sword. Everyone's sort of like, because you have that universal appeal, everyone kind of projects a certain personality onto you, thinking like this is right. This is what they expect you to be like. And I think I'm not looking for that universal appeal. I'm looking for like that one weirdo that will understand me.
Yeah, like I love that, man.
I don't care to impress everyone, and that's something that comes from that Eastern culture. Like, you know, in my upbringing, is like I'm not as much of a people pleaser, and that's why I think it frustrates people that I don't go on these shows. Like, well, why aren't girls crazy about him? Because I don't pretend to be into them. I don't try and get their attention. Like, I treat them as humans, and I'm not seeking that affection. I'm not. You know,
would you say that you're romantic in relationships?
You can't come across like no one's interested, but in reality, like, I'm also putting up my walls pretty high until I want to let someone in.
Alex, would you say that you're pretty romantic in relationships? Would your exes say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like once I'm in a relationship, absolutely.
Got you. Once your guards are down, got you. Alex, tell me about when it comes to Victoria saying that, oh, you remind me of my ex. And you remember your response?
Oh yeah, I remind a lot of girls.
I remind a lot of women that I'm there.
Yeah,
right?
I get that quintessential douchebag look. I get it. Like that's the universal appeal. You know, everyone's been attracted to that guy at one point or another.
Fair. So
he got played.
2-part question. 1, what are your thoughts when you hear that? And then 2, how do you navigate around that?
It's a very natural human reaction. I mean, we try to make sense of the world by recognizing patterns, right? So
intelligence, yes.
Right. So like that, even a lot of times, like, you know, we force them, right? Like we force these patterns. Our brains trying to predict the next move. Like, well, we've seen this guy before. We know how he's going to treat us. Correct. Right. It's a survival instinct.
Correct.
So like, I can't hold it against her. Like ultimately, like, and then at the end of the day, it's probably safer bet. Like, I mean, to be fair, like, you know, 99 out of 100 guys like look like me will probably be that guy. I could be one of those guys. I'm not saying I'm not.
No, I agree with that. I'm pretty sure
there's always anomalies, and like
correct,
but we can't expect them. So it's better safe than sorry. And I would say guilty until proven innocent.
It's funny you say that because we live in a world now to where you're guilty and never innocent, pretty much, even if you prove yourself.
Right.
In
at
some
least,
regard.
at least giving. Yeah. It's more like about getting a chance to prove yourself to be innocent.
Correct. It's sad, man, because you're not lying. Like, we associate everything off of pattern, and right, we associate things. Or is this going to hurt me or not hurt me? Right. That's what our brain does for us. And when a woman sees someone like yourself, okay, bad guy, bad guy, bad guy. He can get every girl, bad guy, right? And then it's that one girl that's like, you know what? I want him, right? And so tell me about some of your past relationships. Why did they end, and what have you learned from those?
It's interesting. I always, like in previous show, I always talk about, it's like, man, I'm basically like a serial monogamist, because going into the Bachelorette, I literally just been in 2 relationships. One was like 4 years, one was 5 years. Okay. And then I was like, okay, let me take some time for myself. And all of a sudden I find myself on the Bachelorette.
Wait. The math ain't mathing. You're 32?
34 now.
34. Oh, same age. See, another reason I like you. But like,
from 17 to 26,
that makes
I was
sense.
basically in relationship. Yeah, high school through like college, and then Bachelorette, I was 28.
Okay,
at that time. And then for the last 5-6 years now, I've dated. But I haven't been in a full blown relationship since then. So it's made me question like maybe I am that douchebag, like maybe. Well, but to be, and it's you joke about it, but at the same time, I just haven't. I know what I'm looking for at this point, so I don't waste this long of a time. Like I'm not giving it 4 or 5 years to make that decision.
Alex, what is it that you're looking for?
And that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Like I wish I knew, because it'd be easier to find it.
Something that I found to be really helpful, and I say this to someone like yourself who can, and I mean it respectfully, you can get a bunch of first dates, right? It'll be harder for someone else to probably get that first date, so we can skip that part, right? Something that I pay attention to, and I'm sure you do the same thing, so I'm not insulting your intelligence whatsoever, is step 1, make sure our goals and or our vision aligns, right? We might be on 2 paths to get there, but make sure the vision aligns. So I would say, and we had a gentleman on here named Paul a while ago who he came at me, and he was one that told me this, and I appreciate him so much for that. What is your vision, your mission for you, Alex? Let's start there.
For
life,
my family, like for as far as like a relationship.
Do you want a family? Like what do you want out of life?
So here's my, I mean, yes, I want a family, but at the same time, I don't want to project any of this onto my partner. I want to meet my partner first, then decide what we want.
So you're willing to adjust, shall I say?
Right. Yeah. Okay. You want to meet the right person instead of having your whole life kind of painted out and then waiting for that one person to come in that that fits that painting.
So I would say you're not an asshole then. That's normally what more of an asshole would do, is be extremely strict in their likes and dislikes. But you seem to be someone who says, I know what I do like, but at the same time, like myself, I've always said, I absolutely want children. But, if I fall in love and for whatever reason she just doesn't want those children.
You guys can make that decision together.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay. So
and that's kind of my stance on most of the things. It's just right now I'm just more not fixated, more concerned about meeting that person that I find that highest level of compatibility. Something I just wanted to blow out every experience I've had before, just completely blow it away. Okay. Right. Because if it falls short, then, why am I settling? Right. If it's not as good as what I've experienced. And I've been lucky enough to have been in some absolutely incredible relationships. I've dated women that, my life's been replete with beautiful women. Correct. So I'm not looking for just to settle at this point.
Love that you said that. Now, for all of our people that are listening, I'm going to play devil's advocate against you, okay? Because I feel like I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to ask a question that they would ask. Would you not say what you just said, Alex, comparison?
Yes, but it's not a direct comparison.
Explain.
So I'm only comparing how I feel in the relationship, not saying this person.
So you're not comparing her.
Yeah, I'm not comparing them individually, because like I said, you know this, someone's perfect match could be someone else's absolute nightmare, right?
Yes.
So to me, it's not it's all subjective, right? As long as you find what you're looking for in that relationship, it's satisfying you, that's really all you want. Like, so it's like, yeah, I don't find myself comparing people to each other as much as like, how did they make me feel? Like,
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that,
what
because
resonated with me.
Yeah, that was a good way.
Yeah, I can see how that can come across. I mean, again, at the same time, it's natural, right, to compare.
Dude,
like, we can do our best not to, but we will on some degree, at some level.
You know, talking about that, we're just gonna have bro talk for a second. I feel that women have asked, and I'm sure they've asked you the same thing. Would you date a regular woman? Have they asked you questions like that?
Yeah, what's a regular woman?
Thank you.
Someone,
what they're
someone not
from
from
like
Bachelor?
someone that's famous.
Absolutely. I've dated way more. I've only dated one girl from Bachelor franchise.
Okay, who was that? So
Caroline, and we dated from Bachelor in Paradise, Australia.
Okay, nice.
Other than that, I've dated everyone that was, quote unquote, regular.
Correct. No, I completely agree with you there. For me, I say it's all about energy, the way that I feel around you. Like the accolades, I can care less, but can I be soft around you? Can I be just my natural self around you? Can I like have an intellectual conversation with you? And so it's more of an energy thing for me. But you just mentioned Paradise, right? I want to go back to that. So you were on Bachelor in Paradise, Australia and Canada. Is that correct?
I think I may be the first one to ever do Bachelor in Paradise in 3 different countries.
Yeah, man.
And I know it's not like a big like statistic, but like you watch sports and they mention like, this guy had the most like home runs at the home games in the in the stretch. Like there's an asterisk to my name. It has to be there. This guy was the first to do it.
Yeah, when you watch sports, they have the most unusual fact and they get it so fast. That would be
right. And so I'm that guy. Dean calls me international slut.
Dean is my guy. I actually talked about him before you got on today. I said I think he's one of the top 3 people in Bachelor Nation I would love to just hang out with, like no camera, just like kicking his boys and just like do some adventure stuff. Like cool.
Yeah, no, he's got that it factor. Like that's what I say. Like he's different.
He does. He definitely is different for sure. But he also has that it factor. But going back to your experiences and your asterisk, your unusual fact that we know about you, right? The only man in history to be on the Bachelor in Paradise in 3 different countries, right? Can you
like basically the Buzz Aldrin,
exactly Buzz Aldrin,
first man on the moon?
Nah, exactly.
Well, I guess it's Neil Armstrong, right? I don't know why I went Buzz.
I went to
second, right?
I know they're both. Don't give me the line which one was first. I went to when I used to be a financial advisor, we had like this huge conference, right? And we had an astronaut come by, and I was like hungover. When you go to conferences, I know you don't drink. That's probably why I don't have your body, to be quite honest. And we had the astronaut, and I was like hungover, and I told my homeboy, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go be an astronaut. So
you're too tall for it, Mike. Those space stations are tiny. You're like what, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, I did F1, or I went to F1. Those cars are super small, man.
Yeah, no, you're not made for that type of thing.
There's just certain things that we can't do. But I want to go back to your time on Paradise. What is the experience like in comparison? How is it different from the U.S. version?
I would say the best experience, was probably Australia. I mean, to be fair, we're in Fiji there, right? There's so much downtime, and downtime is spent together. So you really get to know each other. So that one was fantastic. Again, but that one I also left with someone, so I maybe a little biased, right?
I mean, fair. I've always been a strong component. Bachelor in Paradise absolutely is terrible unless you end up with somebody.
Right. I'll stick with that. It's a completely different experience, like if you have someone at that beach. And then Canada was that one was just like an adult camp. Honestly, it didn't even feel like the Bachelor from Paradise. We were just hanging out, like in these like it's a kids camp that they turned into a Bachelor in Paradise set. I will say though, I think that specific show probably got the best version of me. Like I was, I felt the best. Like I was just myself the most. I felt so comfortable. Like it wasn't, first of all, it wasn't hot or humid. So like I was just hanging out on the beach, like doing the things that I would do anyway. I just got along really well with all the castmates, and like, so I was just the most authentic version of myself. Whereas like I said, with all the obstacles that like the US one kind of presented, like I just felt like I was jumping obstacle after obstacle, right? It's like, ooh, you get through this, like, okay, like you have to like lower these girls' walls that don't want to talk to you. Yeah. Then you get to the beach. I'm like, okay, well now you have to embed yourself into this group somehow while pursuing a girl. And
Correct.
then, you know, after that, well, sounds like, oh, guess what? More guys are coming. So it's three girl bro ceremonies in a row. So I was
So are you
I was
saying?
definitely getting a little bit tired.
Uh,
I can tell, like, I'm watching myself and I'm like, man, there's no life in those eyes. Like you say, it's like, oh man, you look great. I was like, I look at myself, like, this guy is beat.
well, I'm sure I'll speak for everyone. If that's the worst, then hell, they will love you at your best. Uh, you you kind of mentioned something. You were at your best. There weren't as many obstacles to go through. Do you feel like the U.S. version of Bachelor in Paradise is conducive to finding love, or you feel like it's a bit harder?
I wouldn't call it the most propitious place to find love, but it can work. I will say, like, so, like, that's probably like the one thing that hurt me the most, like going back to the beach, like from the hotel, is that I didn't really have that downtime with Victoria. Like
Okay.
everything was kind of like, oh, let's talk. It wasn't like, oh, let's lay on this day bed and just like shoot the shit. Like
Yeah.
that time was spent with Johnny, right? So like I didn't have the opportunity, because as soon as we got back, her walls went right back up, and I was like, ah, man, like I'm just fighting here with, you know, in handcuffs.
Yeah. No, you were. You really, really were. Was there any other woman that you were interested in whatsoever?
There was, but unfortunately, she was not available.
Got you. Who was that woman?
I plead the fifth.
You know,
She knows. I told her on the show, and I said, hey, respectfully, I understand you have a difficult situation, and but if it doesn't work out, I just don't want this come out of nowhere later that, you know, I didn't say anything.
Alex, are you a dual citizen?
I am.
Okay, so therefore, pleading the fifth, that does not work for dual citizens. I'm playing. I'm playing. I just had to ask. So
You were hoping I wasn't. So, yeah.
I respect it, but I absolutely wanted you to say it. I don't know. Now I want to say it. Back when I first came on the show, I probably would have said it and spilled all the beans. So, but the woman was there. She just didn't get an opportunity to come onto the beach.
Again, I plead the fifth. You know, you got more details. I shouldn't have even said it.
I'm about to say, when you say that one, you're really intelligent. You know, you gave me the answer by just saying plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah,
the first one was
you know,
okay,
like,
plead the fifth.
There was someone that, you know, it wasn't like the only. There wasn't just one girl I was interested in.
But
like eventually, I did find someone else.
Was Victoria like your top 3 or whatever the case may be?
And I'm not going to rank anyone. We decided we don't compare on this show.
We decided we don't compare. But you also said it's kind of comparing, but just for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to date how I would in real life, which is like,
Yes.
I focus on one person at a time, right? So it's not like I'm going to come in like, oh, these were my top 3, and like, you know, whoever I get opportunity with. Victoria is someone that I wanted a chance to get to know. I took my shot and I told her, hey, like, this is what you would get for if you were to date me, someone that, you know, has that, like, you know, laser focus. Like, I'm not going to be, you know, looking around when we come down to the beach and looking for something different. I will give you this until you tell me you don't want it. And that's just how I carried myself through it.
That was really sweet. Really, really genuine. Alex, about what you just said, right? In regards to Victoria, she had mentioned that you literally check all her boxes. And I'm sure she was talking about your abs, but also your personality as well, right? And so how did that make you feel in that moment, man?
Well, I didn't hear a lot of those, you know, our conversation weren't about checkbox. So it's funny, like, that kept coming up in her interviews. I was like, oh, I didn't know she said that about me, because I was struggling to read her. It was very difficult for me to know where I stood, and like if she was truly struggling with this decision, or like why she was struggling. Because I tried not to like bring up like Johnny too much. I was like, hey, let's just focus on us. Let's talk about, you know, let's try and see if we have the right dynamic here. But it, like I said, ultimately, it was very difficult with someone else in the picture, and me trying to be respectful of that, and like not asking her to compromise her values, her stand on it. I was like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable exploring beyond a certain point, I will, you know, hold the brakes.
Oh, for sure.
But,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, so that's kind of, you know, hearing those check boxes, I'm like.
Say it to my face.
Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, it's back to the universal feel. Like, was she projecting those check boxes onto me? Like, because we didn't really get a chance to get to know each other, right?
Yes.
I could have hit those check boxes had we developed our connection, but honestly, we didn't get that much time together.
I'm glad that we get the interview here on Talking It Out, because you're someone that, as we've discussed ad nausea, you're the guy, right? You check all the boxes, but like we don't get to hear that guy's perspective of how things is. So I just want to salute you and say I appreciate you being able to like let us in on that type of mindset a bit. But back to Victoria, tell us how was that amazing first date that y'all had?
How amazing. First of all, I was a little upset that we didn't get like an activity, because for me, I always say, I quote Plato, and I say, you get to know someone more in an hour of play than a day of conversation.
Or traveling.
Right. Like it's one of those things that just really like that puts me in my comfort zone. Like you get to be playful a little bit, you get to relax, you're not so fixated on like having these, deeper conversations. And then so we kind of went straight to dinner. I was like, man, come on, like, okay.
Let me just shoot the shit.
I was like, I wanted a true, like, I've never had a bachelor date. I was like, come on, hit me with some fancy date. Nope, you just get to have dinner. But I mean, the date was great. I mean, but we really jumped into it deep. I mean, we discussed we discussed politics and religion. Like, they didn't show it.
Oh, wow.
But like, I mean, we went, like, that's why she knew where I stood on everything. Like,
wow, that's really
I kind of had to lay it all out there. So on that note, like, it was great. Like, we immediately, it was like, hey, I know that's not really the playful fun date you may have wanted, but we knew exactly what we wanted out of life, where we stood, what we were looking for. So that's kind of like started, the little bit of a tinder that would have been, could have become a flame from there.
No, I completely get that. And to be on Victoria's side a bit, to just back her up, she had mentioned that you are the perfect guy, right? You check all the boxes, but she had also mentioned that Johnny was like home, and you could never, you're really intelligent, never argue logic with emotion, right? She feels like logically you're just that guy, but emotionally she wasn't there. And so I can see that. Did you feel like on your date, it seemed like you guys had all kind of conversations, but was that emotion lacking? Did you feel like she was holding back that side?
We both were.
Okay.
It wasn't the emotion. It's just, I think for us, we weren't concerned that we wouldn't have the chemistry, but we didn't want to cloud our judgment with that. Just kind of relegating it to like, okay, we'll have strong physical chemistry and everything will work out.
Correct. I'm glad y'all both did that.
So, and because, she had someone else in the picture, and she asked me to be respectful about it, I said, absolutely. Like, just, all I want to. So when it comes to Johnny being like the home, I think having that extra time, man, like that's
fair.
Had the order been flipped, who knows, right? But that's how it happened. That's how it's been, written. And, there's nothing I would change about it. Like, I put myself out there. I took a chance. Like I said, I was coming in fully open to dating someone. I was not mad about it at all. I think I was, in a way, reprieved from like all the pressure we were all experiencing. Like, all three of us were just so stressed. Like, she had to make a decision. Like, I didn't realize how badly Johnny was taking it. Back to Johnny. I think I mentioned it that, like, I was actively trying to talk to him. Okay. And he would remove himself from the room. Like, we'd be all in the pool. I jump in the pool. He would get out.
Like, I mean, can you blame him?
We'd be like at the kid at the tables eating. I sit down. He would leave, and I'm like, I'm just trying to get a feel on the guy. Yeah. Like, see where he's at. Like, I'm just starting to, hey man, this is not personal. I'm just putting myself out there and trying to be as respectful to you as possible. So eventually we had that conversation, and he really owned up, and he said, hey. Yes. My pride got the best of me. Like, I did, I was a bit juvenile about it. And, so we're all good, but it did kind of make it more difficult for me to know where he was at. I had to watch the show to know how much it was impacting him. So once it all settled, it was kind of that, like I said, that reprieve and, of like, no, it's like, okay, now we know where everyone stands instead of like sitting in this like pool of ambiguity.
No, that's very respectful on both of your guys' parts for Johnny to come up to you like, dude, you're just good looking and freaking intelligent, and you like my.
It's funny. So I came up to him. We started talking. I said, "Hey, man, you've been avoiding me." He's like, "Yeah, sorry." And he goes, like, "You know what? I have to be honest. I watched your season. And you were like one of my favorite guys." I was like, "Damn." I was like, and he must have been 21, 20 when he's watching.
That has to be wild.
And I was like, "Man, that's crazy." Like you don't realize how many people like you. Maybe like I wouldn't say you impact, but like affect. You have leave an impression on
Yeah.
like going on these shows. And it was like
That
there
has
was
to be
like a
wild.
20-year-old Johnny watching Alex solve a Rubik's Cube to impress Rachel. You know,
It's like when your idols become rivals.
yeah, exactly. So
That's
it would have been.
wild.
Yeah, that would have been weird. I was like, man, well, I wish I knew that, man. I wasn't trying to like intimidate him at any point. Like I was, honestly, I have to play it down a lot of times because a lot of guys do get intimidated real easy, especially on these shows.
I think that's nice of you, Alex. And obviously you're a grown man. That's not your business though, you know? And I know you know that, but like, that's just you going
Yeah,
the
but you
extra
still
mile
want
to
to
be
be
kind.
empathetic to other people's, emotions, and like it's a difficult experience for everyone. Like that's what you have to remember. It's everyone's struggling. Like it seems like some people are doing well on the show and they're like comfortable. I was like, no, man, they're everyone's in their
Oh,
head.
for sure. It's a shithole for a lot of different people. But I think that for a woman, if she's trying to see what suitor is best for her, I think she would like to see like the Johnny and you, interaction, because I commended Johnny. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. He did a great job. I was joking about you. I'm like, oh, he must got game. He did a
Dude, Johnny's
fantastic
like
job.
he's like too cool for school. He's
He
like
is.
old school. Like I was like you don't see guys like that. He just does not care.
He truly is, and I definitely appreciate that in him. I
Yeah,
want to go on
he acts much older than like I didn't realize he was 25.
25. Okay, yeah. He
Yeah,
is
I was
young.
like, okay, like yeah, if I was 25, I would have been a mess. I'm like,
Same.
like I can't imagine being there like basically 10 years ago.
Yeah, literally. Don't call our age out too much. Man.
I
So, Alex, you've been an absolutely phenomenal guest. What is it before I get off Bachelor in Paradise soapbox? What have you learned from your time on reality TV, man?
Man, the entire saga of Bachelor World for me has been a very didactic experience. I mean, like the first one, I just kind of took a chance on. I said, this will be fun. But like for someone that's very introverted and like a little more quiet in the group settings, I thought it was like the biggest obstacle course for me to overcome. So it was like so I was like, if I keep doing this, maybe I'll get better at it. Like, it's like, for me, it's an absolute nightmare. I have like a crippling like fear of public speaking. And for me to go on the beach and try and make all these friends and then like watch myself TV, it's absolutely terrifying. But at the same time, it's made me so much more comfortable in so many everyday situations that I take it like,
Taking a stride.
it's a win for me.
Yeah. I like how you say that. I can only see you, Alex, saying that response because I believe it. That was a genuine response, man. Will you ever do it again if you're single?
Yeah, if I'm single, again, like if I'm sitting there single and I get a call, I'm still like hopeful, like to meet someone outside that show. But like, let's say if the timing works out, which is like I said, like it hasn't worked out with this show for 5 years. Like I've gotten a call every summer, and I was either in a relationship or doing something. And finally, like I said, I was like, I can't deny that the timing was perfect. And like it's like also like I felt like that there was a little bigger picture, a little more weight on my shoulders, an opportunity to represent. So would I do it again? Yeah, if everything lines up, like I've always had a great experience. Like even like as tough as this one was, I still walked away thinking like, you know what, this will be memorable. This was fun. This was an experience, such a unique one too. Like how many people get to do it?
For sure. No, you're absolutely right, man. I love it. You're so humble and so just have such an appreciation for life. It seems like you really, really do, man. So I love that about you. Alex, what's next for you, man?
What's next? Next few months, probably down in Florida, just hitting some volleyballs, man. Just kind of enjoying life. I'm at that like stage where I'll just probably hop around, travel a little bit. I'm sure there'll be some cool opportunities, with the show coming up. Sure, I'm not. It's not beneath me. If someone says, "Hey, come do this really cool event," I'll go. So I'll try to be hopping around, enjoying some sunshine, and maybe meeting my future wife. Who knows, right?
Definitely so.
It's
man.
possible.
Definitely. I've only said this to Blake Moynes when we interviewed him. I'll say it to you as well. I would love to travel with you. Just have some fun, hit some slopes, hit some beach volleyball, whatever the case may be. You just seem like a great guy. But before I let you go, here on Talking It Out, you know how we do, man. I got to ask you to drop a gem for us.
I was telling a friend of mine, it's like my favorite word in the English dictionary is thole. And they're like, what is that? And the technique is like, that's the little like circular pin you put the oar in on the boat. Okay. But like the old English dictionary definition is to endure without complaining. Ooh, right. Yeah. And that's the type of like mentality I like grew up around, like with my parents, especially, coming up, being raised in the Soviet Union,
Yes.
Not the decadent West world.
Correct.
So I always try and, live by that like mentality of just if things get tough, you just endure it. You don't complain, and you get it. You do what you have to do.
How do you spell that?
THOLE.
THOLE. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, man. It's funny you mentioned that when I told the producers before you came on. In the military, we have a saying that's kind of similar. It's embrace the suck, right? Mm-hmm. Or another one, the only easy day was yesterday. It's harsh to hear those things, but sometimes some situations it's what you need to hear in situations.
I just hear too much complaining these days. It's just not the environment I grew up in. Like I've never, I've seen my dad, like he cut his like top digit on his finger off and they kept working, man. I was like, who does it? He's like, yeah, I couldn't afford not to get paid. I was like, are you kidding me?
I have a theory. I want your thoughts on this before we let you go, man. I'll let you go after this.
Yeah.
This is so wrong of me, but I'm going to say it anyway, okay? I have a theory that in colder climates, people are tougher.
Oh, it has to be true, man. I was like, walking around -40 in Russia, like you have to have like you rubbing like animal fat in your face, and like you can't even pee. It like crystallizes before it hits the ground.
Jesus,
dude, this is a different world out there. I don't own a jacket. Like I live in Detroit. Like I don't even know what cold. I'm like, man, these guys don't know cold.
You tripping now. Now, see, I was with you all up until that point. I'm playing with you, man. Playing with you. But Alex, cannot wait for you to find your love, for you to continue to do amazing things, which involves just living. Just embracing every single day, everything that comes at your life, and just can't wait to watch you. And I would love to meet up with you one day, man. Salute to you. Have a great day.
I mean, I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Have a great one. Yo, Alex is absolutely just a breath of fresh air. He genuinely is so intelligent, so thoughtful, caring, humble, and really is introspective about the insights and the things that have taken place in his life. And I just can't wait for the best for him. Thanks to Alex so much for being here today. It was wonderful. I know that Brian will miss you. You guys go way back from Rachel Lindsay's season. And make sure all of you guys listen and tune in to Bachelor in Paradise next Monday and Tuesday at 8 p.m. on ABC or stream on Hulu. To all of our extended family, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. We really, truly appreciate each and every one of you. We always love to hear your opinions, your stories, your insight. So please don't forget to comment, follow, like, message us on social at Talking It Out, B as in Bachelor, N as in Nation on IG. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Listen to us on Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. And baby, you already know, before you DM Alex, make sure you hit that subscribe. We love y'all.